So we were excited to see finally on February 6th that EPA approved Stryax for over-the-top use in XtendFlex soybeans and XtendFlex cotton. We, as you know, didn't have that for the 25 season after the vacatur from the court in the Ninth Circuit on 2024, and so we've been working very hard with the EPA to do it. We wanted it in December, but we're happy to see it finally in February. And so us, as well as BASF and Syngenta, received the registrations for the XtendFlex use. And I think we're now excited that growers have this tool back in their toolbox to manage those acres, right? It just offers that additional benefit that a grower can have to control those tough to control broadleaf weeds, especially glyphosate-resistant weeds they may have on their farm. There are a couple of things that are distinct in doing it. So EPA went to a heavily weighted scientific review, one for endangered species and safety and use. And so they've done a robust job there to look at that, but we did come with some changes versus the uses we saw in 2024 and earlier. It still is a restricted use pesticide, so only those certified applicators can apply it. And there still is required training, that's first and foremost. But when the EPA added some changes here for total load on the environment, we used to have a 2-pound use rate like all other dicambas that you see in the marketplace. We'll use Clarity or Diflex as an example. They have a 2-pound use. This one is reduced down to 1 pound. So they've reduced that total load in efforts to minimize pesticides, but we still have the same half-pound use rate. So we still get 2 applications of dicamba in crop, which I think is plenty if you're doing a good weed management program right. We don't need to have the same chemistry, just, hey, that's the one chemistry I want. So I think it still offers a very robust tool for those growers to manage dicamba in their herbicide management plan. The other component they added back in is they had some, I think, broadening or helpfulness to a grower where we had some great restrictions on tank mix options and TTI tips. With their herbicide strategy being published in their scientific review of all pesticides in 2024, they were able to employ some of those benefits to growers for use. And part of that is how do they manage physical drift, what are the components there, and so they took away some of that cumbersomeness, I would say, previously where you had to look up what all things you could tank mix. However, they did impose some increases too. One of those is on volatility reducing agents. So they've asked for every application of the product, you have 40 ounces of a volatility reduced agent to be employed with that. Now, that is a change where it used to be 20, it is now 40 for all uses. And that has a big change for growers. It also has some mitigations around temperature. It's probably the most significant that we see. There's a prohibition of application after 95 degrees if your forecasted temperature for the day of and the day after is going to be 95. And then if it's above 85 and between 95, there's some restrictions for total use in the county that you may manage. So if I managed 1,000 acres of soybeans in Michigan, in one county, which would be kind of robust from a Michigan perspective, but let's say I'm doing that, I only could treat 500 today, and then I would have to wait till day 3, again, according to the label, if all other parameters were met, that I could spray the additional 500. That's just spacing out some of the components you have for dicamba uses on XtendFlex soybeans in a time frame. So I think that as we stand by it, I think if you follow the label, as always, you're going to have successful application with this product. As a grower, as an applicator, even me personally, back in the years, if the wind's blowing, assessing what's going on outside, making sure you are compliant and watching what happens with weather patterns. What's downwind? What are your neighbors growing? Look at sensitive crop registries. Michigan, you've got a diverse cropping environment with vegetables and other things. Knowing what your neighbor's going to plant and knowing what pesticides are they going to stay on target, how I'm going to apply them, what's my boom height, what's my speed. All of those things come into play on doing that, but I think these labels, absolutely, growers follow those. They take care as an applicator. They can have successful applications and follow the requirements quite easily. Again, there's 3 businesses that are, or 3 registrants that have, BASF, Syngenta, and of course Bayer. So I'll speak to Bayer, what we can offer here. Obviously, the label obviously directs you on what's available, your local sales, your extension specialist, other pieces are great spots to go. Bayer.com is also there. We also have an extension of this product label called Stryax applicationrequirements.com. On there you will see where all the state approvals are. You'll see additional label requirements if a state chooses to impose those. You'll see a training deck and information on how you become trained as an applicator. Again, this requires annual training And we will offer those starting the first week of March. We're going to offer live webinars weekly, as well as computer-based training in the past, so growers and applicators can get trained and meet the requirements of this restricted use pesticide. So again, this has been a robust place for Bayer long term as we've had this product. And I think the resources for the use of Dicamba in approved crops and an approved Dicamba is probably more than any other pesticide out there, right? We're now providing training, as we did previously, around a specific use. And so there's a plethora of resources. Again, your local county agent and extension specialists are great resources as well.